at NSHM Center for Language and Communication, who has come here from Kolkata to grace this occasion. Dr. Puri has 24 years of experience in teaching, training, and consulting. She is a certified career coach and trainer with proven expertise in leveraging technology for effective classroom transaction of content curriculum and classroom management for academia and industry. She is also a corporate trainer with experience in conducting corporate training, master classes, workshops, and case studies in the said areas. We thank Ms. Soujanya Pudi for representing the NSHM Center for Language and Communication, our knowledge partner for today's event. I may call upon Professor Dr. Soujanya Pudi, and to felicitate her, I call upon Ms. Tulika Majumdar. Please put your hands together for both. I may now request Dr. Puri to say a few.
After such a wonderful presentation by Ms. Pia Benegal and by Ms. Vinita, who are absolutely hands-on both in the film industry, the thought process and the execution level. At the outset, I extend my gratitude to Arjun and Ukyoto for inviting me here, and to these fabulous people who on a Sunday morning are here to be enriching ourselves with information on the transition from books to films. I come from the academic fraternity, and I strongly feel that, and all of us do agree to the fact that books are a reflection of our society, and films too need to do that. And we are looking at films portraying reality, and books too to reflect in a similar way. Well, it would not be a very wrong statement to share this, that how far are we getting close to reality? Have we lost our way? Well, is it because we lack themes? Or is it because the writers of today are catering to a different genre altogether? In my tea talk discussion with both our speakers, I was reflecting about the current society as it is today and talking about the themes which are relevant. And I think this is often I talk about it. We are living in a society where the youth of today are looking at instant gratification. I really like the question which was asked by Tulika about the 1-minute film. Right, we are living in a world where we are dealing with reels. We cannot hold attention beyond 30 minutes, 30 seconds. And book reading was something which we felt would not be taken up, and there was a debate whether we should go in for a print or you should have a soft version of it, the e-version of it. But I think we realized that there's a lot of trauma in the society, and more so ever for the youngsters, and most of the time we are with this hook to this device, and we're always looking for content which would engage us, content which would actually sensitize us and entertain us, right? And to find that in films is where the connection has been lost. And the youngsters of today have a beautiful mind. Of course, we corrupt it with the kind of exposure we give it. So I think that's a very responsible, a huge responsibility on all of us, both the writers, firstly the writers, because we need to explore themes which would actually weed them away from the beautiful device, how much ever it is informative, and retain their attention. Because post-pandemic, we have the youngsters of today. I think with the kind of society we are living in, they're all cooped up in their homes, in their rooms, not much company, and they're always looking for a way to express themselves. I can comment on this because when I deal with students, I see that they can come up with the most unique themes. They have such intelligent ideas which can be translated into expressing in the written format. I was just expressing with one of the writers, I think, Mr. Dubey, I was talking to him, I was telling him that when we had a writing competition on short stories on freedom, I had a student who came up to me and said, "Ma'am, I'd like to, the story spoke about the freedom to live in any place, and that was living on a planet." That was a beautiful short story. Talks about freedom, talks about the systems and places where we are staying. And imagine if that could be made into a film. When we move ahead to explore the various kinds of themes of inclusivity, we are talking about themes like climate change, sustainability, Indian knowledge systems, which to a large extent are the need of the hour. The marriage between a book and a film would be more possible. Of course, I do understand the branding, marketing, the tools of the day, which would make it very important for our stories to be said. But I think one needs viewership. People say that the movies are slowly not as popular as the OTT platforms. I mean, you're talking about Netflix series. People would spend about a whole day watching a hooking story. Maybe that didn't see light for years together, but then it saw light when it had an intelligent Lapata ladies. Whoever thought it would be something which would be, being celebrated all across the globe. It was a very, very simple story which made waves, right? So when we look at the changing times of today, it's a request to the writing fraternity, and I happen to be a writer too, but then my expressions are more in poetry and short stories and maybe something to teach. Well, I always look at these themes which would be very relevant, and because the society is transitioning into a place which is not going to be a very safe place, neither for animals nor the human beings. And these are the themes youngsters want to see. I'm talking about an example where students would write about stories on insensitivity to animals. Because who's the best companion of theirs today? The best companion is the pet. Well, the parents are busy at their work, it's a pet. Maybe it's a phone. I have nothing against all of this, but then I'll have to say that genres which would sensitize them towards it and then can be translated into films would actually have a wider reach. They are the themes because end of the day we produce films and we are talking about how Sayara became such a huge hit, right? And nobody went on to go and watch the movie, but many people went ahead to watch it. And I had my youngster student said, "Ma'am, it feels like me or my friend there." Well, trust me, I really couldn't connect initially, yeah. But then, yes, it's a hit because very naturally, very practical, very pragmatic presentation of a theme. So I think we have a lot of workshops with the students generally participate. I was talking to Vinitha as well, how you move into schools and colleges and sensitize them to further hone their skills and then give them a tool to bring it to the market. And once it does help out in their script writing and all of that, when it moves into the hands of, there might not be financiers, as ma'am was rightfully putting it, right? It's like a lottery, and you need to, some financier has to go for it. I think there's a dearth of good storytelling, yes, and there is a dearth of very valid themes, because when India is a growing nation with very young population now, and they would want to hear stories of their regions, their lingo, their problems, solutions to their problems, and said in a way which is very, very attractive. I guess, if youngsters would more prefer to go into films, go to a theater where they have a movie which is about a 1.5 hour or so, more so because it doesn't take much of their time. And with AI translating things and making it very easy for everybody, it's a huge challenge again. And with old themes coming back to it, being brought into the, changed and brought into the new format, I guess the transition from books to films would be very simple, provided we have got the same themes, not sounding very didactic, but at the same time making it very, very, bringing a semblance to the youth of today. So I guess it's time for me to, I can continue for a while, or am I? Yeah, we are shortage of time. Because I just have something which I wanted to say is some of the fabulous adaptations of Mickey 17 adapts Edward Ashton's sci-fi novel, right? Mickey 7, and the monkey based on Stephen King, a short story, it created waves. The Life of a Chuck, another King adaptation, premiered at TIFF in September and hit US theaters in June 2025. How to Train Your Dragon, now a live action. And I guess this whole lot of them, the James Cameron is embarking on Ghosts of Hiroshima, which is again adaptation of a book. Right? But these books which I'm talking about are the direct connect with the youngsters of today. Bringing it all together as a creative continuum, these examples illustrate a creative continuum and a solitary act of writing to the collaborative worlds of publishing and film. Right? Whether through beautifully designed books, new publishing platforms, or cinematic reimaginations would make the audience to feel invited and explore stories in ever richer forms. Well, I say this, yes, there are, just to answer the last part of the 1 minute and the 30 seconds or half an hour movies, I think when you go to the OTT platforms, when you see this, all of them are, talking about society. They're talking about certain problems, social issues, or at the same time, I'm a proponent of instilling human values into the society, and that's something very close to the heart, and I never miss a forum where I would really bring that. I guess the biggest differentiator for all of us now is to be a true human being, and that's what the youngsters of today want. We raise our children to be better human beings, to make a better world. I think to make that transition, these are the themes which it's a request. We have a whole host of writers here today, and also the proponents of the film industry. I think the biggest movement would be into those to ensure it is published and has its better market. I guess when there is a convincing story, when I see that the popular producers earlier wouldn't invest in the kind of themes, are now moving into investing in societal themes. I guess that's where most of it, and now people would want to, I was talking about sustainability in the costume industry, and ma'am was talking about how it works. I guess that's one theme, climate change, science fiction, and eco-fiction again becomes a big thing wherein the youngsters of today are looking at. Imagine when a class 9 student or a graduate student tries to recreate a story of a tree in his own language, right? And that doesn't get translated very much as it should have been, but then I think that's where the focus shifts for all of us to ensure that we come up with those themes which can see the world. And I guess you have the best people in the industry who can help in see that reality. With that, I thank you all for your patient hearing, and congrats Arjun for such a fabulous effort. He goes to various cities, and I think many people are looking forward to this expression, and I think he's a good example of how entrepreneurship has made it possible for people to come up and publish their books. So looking forward to more such events like this. Thank you so much.